So great to have Joel Klatt in. Klatt, were you watching?
Good to be here.
Were you watching the Oscars last night?
No.
Either was I.
No.
I don't really watch that stuff anymore.
No, I saw about it this morning, though. I thought our interaction would change all of a sudden. Like, maybe it's time to just, am I going to walk over and just, like, slap you these days? I don't even know. Is that allowed? Some would call that child abuse, since I'm your daddy.
Boom! It's okay. I'm not here. I don't want to start anything. There's a lot of tension in the air in Los Angeles after that.
There was. You could feel it just driving on the highway. It wasn't even just because of the rain.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of tension.
A lot of tension. So our lead college football analyst, Joel Klatt. So let's start with the obvious stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff out there. You played college quarterback. I think I've watched all these guys play. I was a Kenny Pickett guy over the season. I watched the combine, which I don't take a ton from.
Sure.
I thought Malik Willis looked bigger, stronger. I thought he was good at the mic.
Yep.
So give me your rankings in terms of where you would put him.
Man, this class is hard, and you're going to hear that from everybody. It's like it's hard to rank this QB class. I would lean Pickett still at one in a ranking of the quarterbacks, but boy, I think like in my mind, Willis grows on me every single day. I'm like, you know what? I think he's got the highest upside of all of these guys. Here's my five: Pickett, Willis, Corral, Howell, and then Desmond Ridder as my fifth quarterback.
Matt Corral, he's an LA kid. I like him more than the other two. I've seen him live. He's got a lively arm.
Very. But so does Willis. And listen, I don't want to compare him directly to like a Justin Herbert or a Josh Allen, but there's those two guys had questions about their NFL readiness coming into the league, right? Everyone remembers. The Oregon fans still just roast me because I said on this show, I think, like, I don't know if I would take Herbert in the first round. Now, in hindsight, what a horrendous take, right? Because he's been terrific and is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But there was questions about Allen and his accuracy at Wyoming. And you get the sense, the more I see Malik on tape and the more I see him throw live, the more I'm like, you know what? He's big. He's strong. Yes. He's got a great head on his shoulders. This could work.
Well, this is something scouts talk about. There was always something in scouting. Don't judge a player on his highs. What's his body of work?
Sure.
But what you're seeing increasingly is scouts say, we're going to judge him more on his highs.
Yeah.
Because around sports right now, the ceiling players are getting the money, winning the games, and winning the championships. So, as regular seasons get longer, you can have bad Sundays. What you can't have is a low ceiling.
And what I think, at least, as I watch football more and more, and I think it's true on the college level, and it's certainly true in the NFL with what we saw in the playoffs this last year, and in particular in the AFC, where you have to go to win is like stratosphere.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Burrow.
Think about the Bills-Chiefs game. Like, where you have to go to win, what Kupp and Stafford did in the Super Bowl, what Burrow was able to do in the AFC Championship game, what Mahomes was able to do in the divisional game, even though Allen was also in the stratosphere. Like, you got to go way up there. And I think that's a reason why what you're talking about is correct in terms of you got to be judged more probably on your highs, because can you go there? It's no longer going to be relevant for an NFL decision maker, like, well, he's stable. We're going to build around him and we're going to be stable. No. You got to go up there, and you've got to be able to be great when your greatest is needed. And I think that's why a guy like Malik Willis is so intriguing in this draft. And I think he'll get selected in the middle of the first round, maybe even close to the top 10, I think. And by the way, the spot that I think is interesting is that Seattle selection. Yes. When you get to that 9 and 10, they could maybe take like a Derek Stingley or someone like that, a lengthy corner that would bring back kind of that era of secondary. But that's a good trade down position as well. The Jets could be trading down in there. Like, there's spots where people could jump up and try to go get these QBs.
So is Aidan Hutchinson from Michigan the slam dunk number one pick?
I think so. I think that his level of production and his film would suggest that he's in the running. Then you get him in an interview setting. He knocks it out of the park. He's also athletic and explosive, and he's going to test at a very high level. Then you look at what the Jags did in free agency and signing Scherf, and then also tagging Cam Robinson, it feels like they've solidified, at least in their eyes, the offensive line. So what does that leave? It leaves the other side of the ball, and you go get the best edge rusher in the draft, and that's Aidan Hutchinson. This guy's motor does not stop. He plays every single down as hard as you will possibly find on any given field, and he has the production. He's got the athleticism. He's got the explosiveness. And then one more thing, Colin, I don't think that we can just gloss over this. He's got the mentality as well. You want those high character football guys in your locker room when you're trying to build something like the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to build, and I think he would fit really well. So, yeah, I think he's a surefire number one in this draft.
There's the receivers. Once again, it's a great receiver draft. Green Bay is desperate for wide receivers. So let's put up Klatt's Chiefs, Packers. I don't think the Chiefs are as desperate. They'll probably draft one. They're not as desperate. So Garrett Wilson, Ohio State's really good. Chris Olave, Ohio State's good. Drake London, who I've seen a ton. I've seen all of them, but Drake London, I've seen every snap.
Yep, he's very good.
Okay, so
Traylon Burks from Arkansas. You got Jahan Dotson, Jamison Williams.
Okay, so
good class.
Okay, I'll throw a comp on Drake London. So he was a basketball player of note too. So he didn't have burner speed, but his ability to go up and get the ball, I don't know if Mike Williams is the right comp, but he's not going to pull away from you a lot. But if you throw the ball up, which increasingly in this league, quarterbacks throw the ball up.
Sure.
Drake London, to me, what do you see?
I love Drake London. I think he could be the first wide receiver taken because of that size, depending on what they feel like they need up there and those teams selecting in the top 10. Garrett Wilson runs terrific routes. I think Olave, his stock is rising, in particular with that blazing 40. But London, specifically to your question, what he does is he offers the ability or the illusion of space when none is there because of his size and his ability to use his body and create that space and make catches. He's excellent. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Drake London's the first wide receiver off the board. His stock is going up, and it should because he's an excellent player. I love this whole group. I don't think he'll get down to the Packers, right? So the Packers, I think, 22 and 28.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs are at 30.
There's no way with what is happening in the sport, those guys are around.
No, I don't think so either. I think that you're looking at potentially like the Jahan Dotsons from Penn State, excellent player. Maybe Jamison Williams, because of the injury, makes his way down there. I think he'd be an excellent pick. Those are the names that you'd be looking at if you're the Packers down there 22-28.
So the transfer portal's fascinating. So when Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach ever. So his first year at Bama, they lost at home to Louisiana Monroe. So the first year, even Nick Saban, it takes you a while. Second year, they go to, the Sugar Bowl, get rolled by Utah.
Utah beat them, that's right.
Yeah, and convincingly.
Remember, Tebow beat that team in the SEC championship game, then they went into the Sugar Bowl and lost both of those games.
Okay, then third year.
They win.
Yeah, and then it started. But he didn't have the transfer portal. So I look at Miami with Cristobal and Lincoln Riley, and I say to myself, well, they're great coaches, right? Maybe not Saban, but they're great coaches, especially Lincoln Riley. This is a big brand. He's not in Alabama. He's at USC.
Correct.
The state has 200 Division I players a year. So what I try to tell my USC friends, defensively, they're a mile from competing for a title. Offensively, they can score. What is realistic? Give me a 2 to 3 year, what is USC going to look like? Because I am fending off Trojan fans who have them going 12-0, and I'm like, they're not, they're not defensively close to Ohio State, Clemson, Bama, Georgia.
I wish we had the video because you and I, it wasn't on this show, but you and I sat on a pregame desk when Jim Harbaugh's first game at Michigan at Utah. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
And we had this discussion. This was the topic of discussion, and it was, well, how quick can Michigan? And I said, I think Jim could be in the top 10, maybe even this year. And you were beside yourself. Yeah, Klatt, you cannot be serious. They were in the top 10 at one point that season.
That?
100%. 100%.
That really screwed our relationship up early.
That was it. I think that was the divide. That was the fork in the road. That was our Jada Pinkett Smith moment.
Let's come back.
I would just say, this is I'm going to say the same thing. I believe that USC could find themselves in the top 10 this season.
That's a lot.
I know it's a lot, but let's just
now
back into this for a moment because you talked about a lot of accurate things there. USC, and to a lesser extent, but also included in this is Miami because of their recruiting base.
And
these bases, right?
These are not great conferences. The conferences are down.
It's exactly right. and you've got great natural recruiting bases.
Yes.
You've got history, and now you've got maybe not icons, but really strong head coaches at both of these places. Maybe Lincoln a little stronger than Cristobal, but certainly with Cristobal's history in Miami, being an alum, he fits there. It's perfect. Both of these institutions, these programs, folks, college football fans, are 2 years at minimum away or at maximum away from being in the college football playoff. Like at any given moment, you're that close to the college football playoff if you're USC because of just your recruiting base. Now you bring into the transfer portal what you can do. You've all of a sudden got Caleb Williams. Listen, USC and Utah are the two best teams in the Pac-12 right now. So, yes, I think depending on what happens with the schedule and depending on how quickly Alex Grinch, the new defensive coordinator, can get them up to speed, playing at least just solid or even just okay defense, they could find themselves in the top 10 this season.
Hey, anybody go back to the Combine. I don't watch a ton of it.
Okay.
I mean, I watch it, but it's a little,
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I despise the whole process, by the way. And you saw evidence of that when David Ajabo, excellent edge rusher from Michigan, tears his Achilles doing glorified, PE class drills.
Okay. But I will say this. Kenneth Walker, that running back from Michigan State, probably got himself drafted a round higher.
Maybe a half round higher at a minimum. I believe that Walker, now from Michigan State, excellent player. Love what he did. Highly productive. He runs sub 4.40, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, wow.
Yeah. No, I was like, oh, I mean, we all liked him anyway.
That's exactly right. So I think at latest year, middle of the second, maybe at the top end of the second round now for a Kenneth Walker, which is going to be terrific for him. And then a guy that I think did more for his stock than anybody, maybe even more than Kenneth Walker, Trayvon Walker from Georgia, the edge rusher. This is not – I think he's in play at 2 with the Lions.
Wow.
I do. I think that he's in play – at 3 there as well with the Texans. And it's because he's going to be directly compared with Kayvon Thibodeau. And Thibodeau doesn't have the versatility or now the explosiveness of Trayvon Walker. And you look at their production, and it's basically the same. Thibodeau 7 sacks, Walker 6 sacks. So you're looking at a guy that's more versatile. He can drop back into coverage if needed. He's 6'5", he's 270. He runs a 4.5 40, ridiculous explosiveness, and you think to yourself, he might be the second edge rusher taken off the board, and I won't be shocked if the Lions put his name in there at number 2.
Wow. I will tell you this. It's a draft of a bunch of good players. I think Hutchinson has a chance to be a star. Listen, anytime we say it's a great draft, it isn't. And we overvalue everybody. But I will say this. The best player I saw in college football, the 2 best players I saw in college football were the kid from Michigan, the edge rusher, and the center for Iowa. So the middle of America.
Look at you coming to Iowa's defense.
I may just go.
Are you just shifting to where you're public enemy number 1 in Iowa and you're just shifting that down to Norman? Right? Like all the Oklahoma fans are just after you.
I've been offered several parades to be Grand Marshal in Oklahoma. I've passed on all of them.
I would pass. If I were you, I would pass on those as well.
All right, Klatt. Let's see. Do I have anything else? It's good to see you.
It's great to see you as well, Alex. It's good to see you.
You put up that tweet earlier that was a little much.
Was it?
Well, something about.
I just didn't know what the new norm was after last night.
Well, first of all, Hollywood, there is no such thing.
That's correct. Apparently, we can just slap people and then receive awards 5 minutes later, or 20 in this case.
The ratings are in. It was the highest rated Oscars in years. There is something about.
Hey, they needed it. They were getting just drubbed by the NFL.
Yeah,
they couldn't sniff the top 100 rated shows in America for the last 5 years.
I will say this. Go watch, I don't know if you're a basketball guy, you're a football guy. You got to watch Winning Time on HBO.
I heard you talking about
that.
I do love those types of shows.
Oh, my gosh. John C. Reilly and Quincy Isaiah, who they got for Magic. And I'm so cynical on sports movies.
Okay.
I mean, we all know.
Sure.
I'm like, they nailed the Jerry West guy. Looks like Jerry a little bit. I don't know. I mean, makeup artist.
I don't know. Are any of you like me, like a John C. Reilly? I just can't get Step Brothers out of my head. So all I can see is him being like, are we best friends? Yep. And it's like, that's all I'm going to see as he's trying to be
But I
Jerry
will
Buss.
say,
right?
the Jerry Buss stuff is credit to taking Jeff Pearlman's amazing book and where there's a lot of conflict in the. I think people forget. They're all saying, "Oh, the Jerry West portrayal." The book's full of conflict. The show's full of conflict. Yeah. I mean, Magic was struggling with Kareem. Kareem very stoic and aloof. It's fantastic. I'm selling subscriptions for HBO.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you hawking right now? This is amazing.
I watched the first one. I was like, Then 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
But again, I see John C. Reilly. All I think about is prestige worldwide.
Worldwide.
I get it.
Why?
Worldwide.
Why?
Wide.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.